Hey everyone, it's Axe here. I wanted to talk a little bit about Smash Summit 8. This was the first time to date that I had ever won a major, and it happened a year ago in June of 2019. I never really talked much about my mentality or the little things that happened throughout this tournament, so I figured today would be the perfect day to do so. So let's get right into it. Every match was going to be hard. This was an event where 16 of the best players from around the world were flown in to compete against each other. My first match was against Moki, who was the best Canadian Fox player. Watching this match really hurts. Here I do an accidental tournament winner, which is what we call this ledge jump here, and I get light punished for it. Grab the ledge, I do another tournament winner, I end up rolling on accident because I'm trying to tilt my shield towards him. I don't get the smash DI. It's just so many small mistakes that kept happening throughout not only this set, but throughout the entire day. Like, look at this. It's not hard to get that regrab generally, but it was on this day. I got pretty lucky towards the end because he was messing up too, but even the commentators sounded like they wanted him to win, probably because he was honestly outplaying me.
Oh no.
Oh.
Is he gonna drop it this time? Will he drop it this time?
Drop it!
Wow,
Drop it!
Dude,
Unbiased.
as Fox, it's just like, do I DI off stage or do I...
What do I do?
Wow.
Screwed,
The thing is,
man.
you have to make that decision immediately.
After somehow winning that last set, my next opponent was Leffen, who is the best player in Europe and currently ranked 2nd worldwide. The last time I played him was at Get On My Level a few months prior to this, and I ended up winning that set 3 games to 1. For this set, I unfortunately wasn't playing anywhere close to good enough to handle a player like this, so he ended up winning the set 3-0. After the set, he goes up to the mic and says,
I feel pretty good. Axe has definitely gotten better, but last time he won mostly because I was rusty, to be honest.
like, bro, are you serious? Like, that's a joke, right? Like, anyway, I wasn't upset about the loss because it was my last set for the day, and I knew I'd be able to get some rest and come back strong the next day. I was really lucky to have Coach V-Man there with me. Every morning, he would warm me up and just make sure that I'm good. So my first opponent on this day was S2J, who was the best Captain Falcon player on the West Coast. Going into the match, I felt pretty good and was playing pretty solid. Unfortunately for him though, it seemed like he was having a pretty bad day. It was kind of like we completely swapped places from the previous day. Here, Johnny gets hit by this Thunder Jolt, which he's usually good at avoiding, which costed him his stock. We both shake our heads, recognizing that he's off his game. I just like to play someone when they're at their best, so this was pretty unfortunate for him. I ended up winning the set 3-0, and that was the end of pools. A positive score meant I would start in the main bracket on the winner's side. The first matches of the bracket started on that same day. My first match was against Zane, who is the best Marth player and currently ranked number 6. Our set was absolutely crazy. It was basically even the whole time, with both of us making the most clutch adaptations throughout the set. It went down to the wire. Last game, last stock, high percents. At the very end, I hit him with a down tilt and had to read that he would tech away. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get there in time, but I knew that I had to go for it, and I barely ended up hitting him with an up smash on what looked like the last possible frame. With that, I advanced through the winner's bracket to face off against Mango. This guy is basically the most unpredictable Wild Falco player known to Melee, and he's currently ranked number 3 worldwide. Our set was just as crazy as my last set with Zane. Both of us were evenly going back and forth, but then this happened. I accidentally SD, but Mango wants to have a fair match, so he gives me a homie stock, which I absolutely love that mentality, by the way. I like to do the same thing. But shortly after, he misspaces a down air, and I catch him out of his double jump with 2 up airs. Luckily, the cloud was there, so I was intending on letting him back, but he just kept falling without starting his up B. And and by the time he did, he was too low to recover. As silly as the situation was, I was still shaking my head because I didn't want to win the match that way, as sometimes things like that happen. So after another really close game on Yoshi's, I get a solid lead on game 5 being up 3 stocks to 1 when he makes another crucial mistake and falls to a single tail spike. I do wish the set would have ended better, but besides those 2 unfortunate tail spikes, it was a great set. That win brought me to winter semis, where I had to play against Wizrobe. He's a Captain Falcon player who recently has had some amazing performances, even winning a super major over Hungrybox, and he's currently ranked number 5. One interesting thing about him is that he basically plays the opposite of how most Falcon players do. He's great at slowing the game down, beating you in a war of attrition. Going into the set, I felt pretty nervous because I knew that winning would guarantee me top 3, which would be the highest I've ever placed at a summit event. With that in the back of my mind, I played a little bit shaky, but I picked it up as the match went on. It felt like the longer we played, the more I would adapt to him, and eventually I felt unstoppable, to be honest. In the end, I ended up winning 3-1 with a solid victory in the last game, and after I realized that I won, I was honestly so excited that I made it all the way to Winners Finals. Like, what? Like, I'm in Winners Finals? I just couldn't believe it at the time. But I also knew it wasn't time to celebrate. I had to focus on the match ahead of me. Like, I can't count how many times I made it far into a tournament, then choked in the next set because I kept thinking about the results. I had to keep telling myself to calm down and to stay focused, and thankfully I had V-Man there to help me get into the right mentality. Next up was a rematch versus Leffen, the number 2 player who beat me in pools a few days before this. I was pretty happy to get a rematch with him because I really wanted to play when we're both on point. You kinda have to be playing well to make it to Winners Finals, so I was excited. I ended up winning Game 1 on Battlefield and Game 3 on Fountain of Dreams. On Yoshi's story, I had an edge guard that might have ended the set 3-1, but I misjudged and ended up losing my stock instead of him. Luckily, I still had Final Destination to work with, and I ended up winning Game 5 with a low % 2 stock.
Forward tilt, you're dead. Oh, and he shine stall, but Axe actually waited a little bit against the downer. The crowd is going wild back there.
He knows that, that might be it.
Oh,
he got the
grab.
grab.
He's gonna go.
Nair.
Okay, off stage.
Yeah.
Okay, goes for
Yeah.
it.
Got
And Axe is in Grand Finals. Axe is in Grand Finals.
After I won, I was just so happy to be in Grand Finals. Being in Winners Finals was already crazy enough to me, but now I'm in an actual position to win the whole thing, and I just could not contain my excitement.
I'm in Grand Finals?
Winner side.
Grand Finals.
Winner
Let's
side.
go,
Axe.
insane.
Let's go, Axe.
Dude, I literally don't know what to say.
Axe.
You're welcome. That's what
Dude, I can't yet. I can't yet. But later on,
It's so tempting.
later on, that thing's getting devoured. The whole thing, probably.
And up next, we have Wizrobe versus Axe, and what is going to be one of the greatest Grand Finals
I'm so ready.
we've ever seen. Oh,
After warming up with V-Man while the other matches were happening, I learned that my opponent in Grand Finals was going to be Wizrobe. My immediate thoughts were, I got this. I had already beaten him earlier in the winners bracket, and I felt that the longer we play, the better I'll do against him. Since he was coming from the losers bracket, he would have to win 2 sets in a row. I was nervous, but I felt very confident at the same time. When the match starts, we both start off a little bit shaky, but start to pick things up as we're going. Wizzy seemed way different than he was in our winner set. He just felt way harder to hit, and he ended up winning Game 1. I take him to FD to win Game 2, then he takes me to Dreamland where he just becomes a whole different monster. I found myself just being shut down when going for things that worked on him before, and I just couldn't catch my footing. This was not the same Wizrobe that I fought earlier that day. One habit that Wizzy has is taking what feels like forever in between games. I honestly used to get annoyed by it, but I was way more mentally prepared for it this time. He was sweating up a storm though. After he won on Dreamland, he turned to one of the staff members and said, "Hey, can I have a towel?" So the staff member went downstairs, came back up, brought back paper towels. Wizzy just looked at them and said, are they clean?" The staff member said, yeah, I mean, they're paper towels. I was just sitting there like, what on earth am I watching? Anyway, after all of that, I take him to Fountain of Dreams, where I make it really close, but he ends up taking my last stock, winning the first set 3-1.
He's off stage.
Back airs. He tried to do the get up
Down
his back,
throw.
down throw knee, not gonna be able to do it, down throw knee.
Nice.
Wizzy has
Try
reset the
again.
bracket.
Second set.
Here it is.
After losing that game, I knew I would lose the final set if things kept going like this. I needed to fix my mentality, otherwise I was guaranteed to lose. I told myself to stop thinking so much about winning or losing, even if it's on the very last stock. I needed to focus. And I somehow became the most focused I felt in a very long time.
Right.
You really have to like kind of not let yourself second guess.
Yeah, you gotta commit hard.
Just a read.
Great grab. Into
Wow.
up smash.
Barely catches that up
Catch
smash.
Oh!
And up air on another one.
The reverse tip.
With that focus, I come back strong, winning the first 2 games of the second set. Even after winning, no pop-offs, no thinking about what happens next. I didn't even want to move. I was just so in the moment.
Okay, let's see what.
Weird.
Axe.
Oh my god, up airs into the up smash.
Axe is
And now Wizzy's praying for a
out of
grab.
Down
That
tilt.
down tilt. Yeah,
Yo!
that's good.
Oh my god!
Axe is ground
It's
game just
over.
better right now. Axe is
2-0.
ground game just better.
Axe is 1 game away.
Game 3 happens, and at the very end, I was so close to victory that I just wanted to end it, and that costed me the game.
Now I want to let this go.
Oh, that clip.
Okay.
Up smash to the grab.
A tree! Oh,
What?
Yeah.
H-box.
That's always been there.
Oh my God.
The grab. Up air. Up air knee. That was so clutch for Wizzy.
This is when I started having a mental battle with myself, telling myself to stay focused. But what I didn't realize was that I just gave Wizzy the confidence to push himself even further. On FD, despite my focus, he felt even harder to fight against. We were going back and forth and it came down to 2 stocks apiece, over 100% each, and we just could not kill each other. It was actually insane.
Nice,
what a
nice.
The snipe and forward
Oh,
smash.
the
Wizzy
tech.
text those.
The
You
tech
can't
up
go
the
for
force.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Big stuff.
Gets the grab.
And the up air.
Wait,
Up air.
almost a stock. Axe
Oh my
barely
god.
limited these.
Oh, both of these guys are just not dying.
They both died to anything.
Oh my god.
Oh, wait, that's
Don't do it!
That was a weak nair that got him on stage. Got him.
What an up air.
Just barely.
Nice.
Axe.
But after a while, I ended up getting the kill on him first. I think in that moment, he started getting a little bit hasty to close the gap, and I was able to find a grab to get a solid amount of percent on him and push him off stage. But I didn't realize that he lost his jump somewhere. That's when I recognized that all I had to do to win was grab the ledge. This would go on to be the most important up B of my career. If I was off by even a little bit, he would have either grabbed me with his own up B, or I would miss the ledge completely. I ended up getting the sweet spot, watched as he fell past the ledge, and I couldn't help but to let out the most gut-wrenching roar out of uncontrollable emotion.
Thunder. 85. He's off stage.
Axe does it.
Is your Smash Summit 8 champion.
Axe did it.
He's done it.
A Pikachu has won a major Smash Summit 8. Oh my.
I just couldn't believe that I won. The whole event. I've been playing this game for 13 years, and I've been close a few times, but this is my first time getting first place at an event like this. I can't even describe all of the crazy emotions I was feeling during this moment. V-Man was coaching me throughout the entire tournament, so he comes up to me, gives me a hug, and says, "You did it, Axe. You finally did it." I head downstairs where Ty congratulates me. He knows how hard I've worked for this. And honestly, seeing all of the top players and talent clap for me as I came downstairs, It was just really hard for me to keep myself together.
If I need this, I need some pizza.
Someone give the man a pizza.
Someone.
You got pizza. You got pizza.
Axstop pizza.
Finally did it. Axstop
Dude,
pizza.
yeah,
Dude,
congratulations, man.
I don't know what to say. I just, I've been working really hard for this, and I don't know. It's just a long time coming. It's just crazy to me.
I love you, X.
I can't stress how much all of my fans mean to me. Right after this, I went over to my Twitch stream where I reached around 5,000 subscriptions that day. That's absolutely mind-blowing.
Guys, we freaking won! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! I won! Yeah! Yeah!
Since then, it's dropped to about 1,000, but I mean, it's still pretty awesome. Tempo Storm also made me my own custom Arizona-themed jersey in response to this win, and it honestly looks amazing. I'll leave a link to both my stream and my jersey in the description, which you can get one if you'd like. For now, this is Axe signing off. Thank you very much for watching.